Welcome back. A couple of these oil marketing companies moving higher. HPCL at the high point of the day. We have Grasim too, which has moved to the high point of the day. Along with that, we have Bajaj Auto, BPCL, and Dr. Reddy's. Pharmaceutical stocks, in fact, have gained some traction just over the last 15 odd minutes. But the stock on our radar right now is Marico, lower in today's trading session by about 0.5%, on the back of the cabinet hiking the minimum support price for Copra. To discuss this and more, we have Vivek Karve, the CFO of the company, joining us on the phone line. Good morning, Mr. Karve. If you could talk about the increase in this minimum support price for Copra, how much has it been increased by? What is the current price of Copra? And does this really impact your procurement?
See, earlier, I believe the increase in the MSP is about 25 to 28%, if I'm not wrong. And the current prices of Copra are individuals ruling higher as compared to even the revised MSP. So that's the current scenario.
All right, sir, if you could tell us what is the current price of Copra and post MSP revision, what's that price of Copra now?
Yeah, so it keeps hovering. It keeps hovering between 110 and 120 rupees a kg. MSP, I believe, is some 95 or 99. I think exact numbers you would also have with you because they have published those numbers.
All right, yeah, 95.21 per quintal is one batch of Copra. The other one would be around 99.21. That is still lower than your current price of Copra. So just for perspective, if you could tell us how much of your cost of goods sold is Copra linked, and does this really impact your procurement price?
Yeah, about 50% of the COGS is Copra led, but not necessarily, because the Copra prices today or even in the past have always been dictated by the demand and supply scenario.
Well, Mr. Karve, we have seen prices of around 140 rupees per kg now earlier in this year itself, and now that's declined to around 110, 120 rupees per kg. Will this MSP prevent further decline? Does this put a bit of a floor in terms of Copra price reduction?
So first things first, let me first explain to you what happened to Copra last year. So last year, because of the demand and supply imbalance, the prices went up to about 140 rupees a kg. Now this year, the prospects of a higher supply have brought the prices down to in fact, they went below 100 and now they're ruling at about between 110 and 120. So it's always been a demand supply. And if you look at a correlation between the MSP of Copra and the market prices of Copra, you will figure out that the correlation has not been very, very strong. So which leads me to believe that Copra prices will always get determined by the demand and supply scenario.
All right, so Copra prices impacted by demand and supply, and there is very little correlation between the MSP as well as Copra. So the point that we're trying to find out is that, do you expect Copra prices to not fall further because of this MSP? They have been falling from 140 to 110, like you said.
Very difficult to say that, because it would also depend on the government strategy in terms of purchases it does at MSP.
All right, Mr. Karve, we take that point then, but what kind of inventory are you sitting on right now?
No, so we keep buying Copra throughout the year. There is always a season and an off-season. So sometime in, if you look at the first quarter of calendar 2019, that's somewhere where the arrivals will start picking up. So that is how typically it happens. So the first 6 months of any calendar year is a higher portion of the total arrivals, and the next 6 months are a little lower. But it's a perennial crop that way. It's not that we don't get Copra in some part of the year.
All right, Mr. Karve, could you tell us how much of your Copra is procured domestically?
So as you may know, the Copra imports are not allowed. So 100% of what we procure for domestic consumption is procured domestically. That is within the country.
All right, so 100% of your Copra procured domestically. Have you taken price cuts post the recent decline in Copra from 140 to about 110? And since we have you with us, if you could tell us how demand is shaping up on the ground, especially for your winter care products?
No, so post Copra decline, we have always maintained that for us, protecting and growing the franchise is very, very critical for us. And therefore, any reduction in the Copra prices would mean that we may pass on some of the benefit to the consumers. through tactical measures such as consumer offers. And as regards the winter skincare products, we have an extremely marginal presence in this particular category. So I'm not sure whether I'm qualified to talk about it. You should ask the market leader.
All right, thanks a lot, Mr. Karve, for joining in and giving us all those details. Short point that despite the revision in the minimum support price, the price of the Copra, the current market price of the Copra, is still higher than the revised minimum support price. Does not impact their procurement. Let's see, the big question, whether it puts a floor to the decline that we've seen in Copra prices.